Greetings ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie video, taken from the HFY subreddit. The story is called Cold Rage, written by LostFol. Link to the original will be down below. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. By all accounts, Nalvern should be an angry one. The slave trading station had captured one of his colony ships, but he was more worried about Bill. He had never seen the human so angry before. While he did seem calm, Nalvern knew him well enough to know that it was pure control. Bill was never one to shout. He normally spoke softly, though his voice was gravelly, almost like his vocal cords had been shredded and whatever incident had taken his natural eye, arm, and leg. Nalvern wasn't sure what had happened. They had found an escape pod floating in a space holding Bill. Normally, they claimed Bill approached them in a fighter when trailing the story, but the truth was that they pulled him aboard thinking it was salvage. Only much later they learned this Bill was related to the John that had almost wiped out his people. While he'd initially been torn by the decision, he had hated the human, but they had no choice but to accept his offer for help. They couldn't maintain the ships much longer. To Bill's credit, he never lost control when talking about the slave master on the other end. All Nalvern could think was that the man was far braver hiding his station surrounded by guards and talking to Bill over the transmitter. He doubted an in-person discussion would have been the same. Bill started off calm enough. "You have a ship of mine, release it." The slave station master's laugh was the worst reply that he could have made. "Bring me the colony ship to replace it, and I might consider it. I am not scared of some silly monster stories. This whole station is prepared to blow you from the sky. But know this, we will not hesitate to blow out the whole colony ship first, so don't try any of the theatrics there." The guffaw of the oversized throg would have angered Nalvern if he wasn't more focused on Bill at the moment. He noticed Bill's black coat even recoiled from the human at the response. The glow in his red eye seemed like a fire reflecting off the screen. "You want a ship, huh?" Bill's scowl made Nalvern nervous. The cloak seemed to unfurl behind him when Bill looked up. "I'll bring you a colony ship." Bill cut the communication abruptly. Nalvern watched the cybernetic gently raise and close. It was calm exercise that he rarely saw Bill do. "Bill, we can't doom others to the fate of big slaves." Nalvern began to object. "Nalvern, I know the ship we need. We just have to find it," Bill snarled. The description he gave was of a derelict, not a ship. Nalvern could almost feel the anger coming from Bill, but it wasn't like heat. It was like a clawed fingers of ice. Bill gave him the area of space to search through, and in the mood Bill was in, he wasn't going to question it. Nalvern had been surprised when Bill agreed. He didn't like the slavers. Everything about Bill at the moment screamed danger in what was left of Nalvern's instincts. He excused himself to go start searching. In truth, Nalvern was relieved to be away from the angry human. He didn't know why they were looking for this ship, only that it wouldn't be that good. Their colony ship bore the protective mark, which was well known. The red field with a wide skull wasn't very subtle. It was odd how viciously protective the human was of them. The Centaurians weren't human. It had been the humans that had evicted them from the dark void of space. Bill didn't seem to care. He took care of them. There was no doubting the distance that he would go to protect those he promised to. Bill's reputation in this part of space meant that few dared to anger that man. Nalvern thought as he searched. The slaver must be new. The humans might not be a major power in the galaxy yet, but he had seen firsthand how dangerous and tenacious they could be. Nalvern shook his head and realized he actually pitied the foolish slaver. Everything about the slaver should have driven him to hate him. The only thing that Nalvern had seen what Bill would do when he wasn't angry, he thought. He had watched Bill's merciless interrogation of pirates that had raided them, hardened criminals that always swore that he would not get anything out of them. In the end, they always talked, and normally more than words came out of them. In the end, those that survived were doomed to be helplessly trapped inside the Centaurian-controlled suit. They had debated it endlessly when Bill had first started to use this technique. It was horrific. They all had mute internal speakers of their suits. It seemed excessive, but in combat they had seen its effectiveness. It was one thing to shoot a suit and see no effect, but the species assumed that they were robotic and became more fearsome. It was another to see the damage, and it kept moving. Bill's ominous black suit and ever-present cloak added to the ethereal air. He had been present when Bill had taken the galactic military vessels to salvage calls for the broken-down colony ships. Bill had deftly used the custom harpoons and ripped the core straight out of the ships as he passed. It had been a 3-to-1 fight, but seemed almost unfair to the three. Bill had warped in on top of them. Nalvin still couldn't believe what he had witnessed that day. He was glad that most of the race knew nothing of where those calls came from. Nalvin snapped out of those memories as he found it. The ship. Bill had asked him to find an ancient human colony ship that had an eerie appearance to it. It was one of their slow boats from before FDL had discovered. He was surprised to find numerous sightings of it passing slowly through near where Bill had said to look. The images of it made it look dead, though. What was more surprising was that all the warnings to stay away from it and avoid it at all costs. Reading them, it was clear that several alien races had lost crews boarding the ship. Nalvin had a sudden feeling that he knew what Bill was about to do. Calling up Bill, "We found it. I've locked onto the nav computer. This ship is covered in warnings to avoid it. Is it safe?" This Scudder laughed. "I just need to talk to them." And no. Nalvin felt the engines ramp up as they jumped. As he returned to the bridge, he found Bill fully suited. He even had a captain's rank on. He barely looked up at Nalvin as he came on the deck. "Nalvin, I'm going to go talk to the captain. No one comes with me, just me. This ship is dangerous." Bill warned him. One look at the ship and one could see that it was definitely wrong. The hull had multiple breaches and the lights were flickering. "What do you want me to do?" Nalvin asked, confused and concerned. "Watch, if you like. No matter what happens or what you see, though, none follow me." Bill's expression allowed for no disagreement. Nalvin had long since given up on a physical body, uploading his into the environmental suit, but as he looked at the ship, even his circuitry cringed. Bill was already leaving. Nalvin watched through the monitor as he went down to the shuttle and took it towards the derelict ship. As Bill's shuttle approached, the name The Verge could be seen on the hull. The flickering lights almost looked excited. He had an ominous feeling from the ship. Nalvin suddenly felt that it was a very bad place to be. Bill's entrance to the ship granted Nalvin a sight that even from the camera gave him chills. Dozens of alien corpses laid around near the entrance. Strange glimpses of movement could be seen as the lights flickered. At one point, a young human appeared in front of him holding a doll. Bill seemed to take it in stride, not even slowing as he told the child, "Get out of my damn way, I need to speak to your captain." He had felt shocked to see the child disappear into almost a mist. Nalvin had thought Bill was dangerous, but had never thought him to be anything but Bill. Watching this, the name The Void was, as it was whispered in taverns around space, seemed more appropriate. Nalvin watched the terrifying scene as Bill walked to the bridge. Bodies were all along the way. The effect was enhanced by the flickering of the lights. Bill's stride was measured and consistent, though, and he didn't appear to care. Once he reached the bridge, it was empty. Nalvin watched fascinated as Bill yelled, "I am Captain Bill Martin of the Pequod. I am here to speak to the captain of the Verge." An older human materialized in front of Bill. His face seemed composed but also hollow, the eyes lacking focus and life. "Not many would walk my hall so boldly, Captain Martin." The voice echoed over the video feed. "Why do you demand my attention? Why should I not treat you as I treat the others who enter our hell?" The captain's voice dripped with malice. He was slowly moving around Bill. Bill's response was by comparison cold. "I'm here to make a deal with you, Captain." This caused the other captain to stop his slow movement and stare at Bill. After a couple minutes, "What would the living have that could possibly offer the dead?" There was contempt in his statement. Nalvin realized what was actually happening. Bill was talking to the captain of the infamous human ghost ship. All those tavern stories and the government warnings came rushing back to mind. He never believed them to be real. This was what looked bad, Nalvin found himself thinking. Even for Bill. How long have you searched for a home, Captain? Been at least a few 100 years, hasn't it? Tired of looking by now, I bet. And the ship can't land on a planet. Others began to materialize behind the captain. More could possibly have fit into his space. I am listening, the captain rasped. The voice contained an unbound hunger. Slavers took something of mine. They demand a colony ship in order to return it. I want my ship and the slaves, the station, the slavers, and even their leader are yours, Will stated flatly. The ghosts all stared at him for a minute. The captain sneered. And what makes you think that we care about slavers? We're dead. Again. What makes you think that we won't just kill you and add you to the crew? Nalvin pulled back and shook as Bill's real hand shot out and caught the ghost captain by the throat, putting it close. You only exist with your pain, hatred, and will. Do you think yours is greater than mine? You believe that you can't be touched because you deal with those too weak to do so. These slavers are just like those who damned you to this existence. They trade the lives of others for profit. Now they keep living beings in cages to face similar fates to your own. You should be begging me to tell you where they are. You lack the courage to bring justice to those who deserve it. Are your hate and pain that weak? Bill finished the last two sentences in a loud voice. Not quite a yell. There was an almost bestial growl in his voice. Shock played across the captain's face as the other ghosts in attendance jerked back. Nalvin could see Bill's glove was covered in frost, but the ghostly captain was the one who looked uncomfortable. All you want are your people and the slaves, the captain finally asked. You have my word. You can have the slavers so long as you promise me they'll fully appreciate the evil of their actions. I'll even mark it as a slaver safe zone on the map, so long as you promise to give me the slaves. Bill's words were still calm and cold. Nalvin knew that he was watching an unholy deal. His existence was essentially that of a ghost in a machine, his consciousness uploaded. These ghosts needed no such constraints to contain them. Their anger and hatred was so strong that they lingered, something no other species did. He felt a chill at the thought of the power of the human will. You have a deal, Captain Martin. Lead us there, and we will do the exchange. Once we have the station, we will send the slaves to your ship, and they will go free. When we get the slavers, we shall send the slaves to you. The captain of the Verge finally said. There was even a note of respect Nalvin thought he picked up on. Bull let the captain of the Verge loose. As he turned to leave, he heard the captain say, I see they call you the Void with good reason. How did you leave it? I don't remember, Captain. Not even sure I truly did. At sometimes it comes with me. My business is unfinished, much like your own. The cloak on his back seemed to move at the mention. Nalvin knew the importance of what he had witnessed was lost on him. Bill's return to the ship was uneventful. Even the lights had ceased to flicker. As he returned to the bridge, he looked at Nalvin. With a smile that made Nalvin cringe, Bill said, Let's go make our trade. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit Quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so, listed in the description down below. The easiest and best way would be to share this video and my channel as much as possible. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a good one until then. Cheers.